And so tonight we look back on the DNC and a weekend that has been very turbulent.
The Dan Yorke State of Mind program is brought to you in part by Lookout Rhode Island and Takeo Comfort Solutions.
Former Providence Mayor Joe Paolino and television host Joe Paolino is my guest this evening. We will forego most of the rundown concept here, as we have been doing a lot lately, simply because there's just so much meat going on with the conversation about our presidential politics. Of course, there's some stuff happening locally that I find somewhat distressing. We had pre-recorded most of our Wednesday, Thursday, Friday programs simply because I took a few days off to chase around a little white ball, and knowing how poorly that went, I may never take a vacation day again, to be honest with you. But you know, while this was all going on Friday afternoon, this headline was the conversation locally all week long. No charges, no documents, no new details. You know, the Providence Journal has become somewhat edgy in some of their local coverage, and I think that's a good thing. And I think their front page headline more or less said everything that needed to be said. We are not going to spend much time, any time on that this evening, but no, on the Wednesday program, we'll delve into the 38 Studios discussion, what happened with the state police decision, the Attorney General's decision, and all of that. So duly noted, okay? In the meantime, let us discuss that which was last week in the DNC. We had some pretty provocative conversation about the RNC through last week. Here were a couple of tidbits. I mean, the president, you know, he spoke.
I came to realize that her unbelievable work ethic wasn't for praise, it wasn't for attention, that she was in this for everyone who needs a champion.
Of course, Tim Kaine had his thoughts.
And on a personal level, as he's serving our nation abroad, I trust Hillary Clinton with our son's life.
It's actually hard to actually decide which pieces of video you're going to pick from a convention, because there's so much conversation. Joe, good to see you. Thank you for coming. Before we get into it, you were at the convention, so
yes.
You enjoyed all of that. Bittersweet for you, though, I know, because your good friend Mark Weiner, who you'll be offering a eulogy for tomorrow, passed away reportedly en route, still plugging away, thinking he was going to go to the convention. You know, I don't know. I knew Mark. I met him a couple of times, so I'm not going to pretend even to be an acquaintance. But I do know a bunch of folks who are considered to be his good friend. You being one of them, and so my condolences. You know, your buddy Cianci was a good friend of yours. Mark Weiner was a good friend of yours. So you've lost a couple of you know, good pals.
And I lost my mom last month, so
We've
had better years.
That I didn't even know.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to hear that. This guy was a national star.
He's an incredible guy. There's no, outside of my family, there's nobody who's been more of a constant with me over the past 47 years than Mark Weiner. I mean, he was my brother. I mean, we weren't just, a lot of people say, oh, we were very close. I was his brother. We were soulmates together as friends, and he trusted me, I trusted him, and he was a good person. A lot of people in life, they take. Mark was not a taker, he was a giver. All he did was kept on giving, and he kept on trying to help people and make life better for other people. He loved politics, he loved the game of it and all. He was an entrepreneur, he was a very good business person, but no matter what he was doing in life, if he could make somebody else's life better, he tried to make that happen. If you had a family member that had to get into the Mayo Clinic, you'd call Mark. If you had somebody a kid that you wanted to get into Georgetown, you say, gee, Mark, do you know anybody there? If you wanted somebody to get into the White House or somebody to get a ticket at a Super Bowl game, you'd call. Mark was always there. He was the go-to. He was that way in high school. And it just grew over the years of how important he really became on a national level. The first convention he and I went to was in 1976. And I was 21, he was 22, we were kids. But we took over the delegation because Jimmy Carter was the candidate. We beat him with an uncommitted slate, and we controlled the whole delegation. We picked who the chairman of the delegation was. We picked all the various passes and things that went along with it. And we made a name for ourselves. And after the convention was over, he went to work for a woman by the name of Hillary Clinton. in the state of Indiana because she was the coordinator for it. I went to work in Rhode Island, so he did national, I did local, and it's not because we planned it. It's just where we ended up going, and you have no idea how I'm going to miss this guy.
You're offering the eulogy tomorrow.
Yep.
Bill Clinton's coming in.
Yes, he is. He called me last night. We talked for about 15 minutes on the phone. Clinton was wonderful. Clinton came to see Mark in Newport. Mark was staying at my home in Newport with his family. And Clinton flew out with his college roommate from Georgetown. And they took a private plane. They were with Mark. Mark's family, my family was there. He spent 5 hours with him, talking about not politics, not about the election. The British Open was on, talking about life, talking about Mark's medical, talking about some trips they went on. It was just as a regular person. And he loved Mark. And part of Mark's magic is he never asked for anything. And so when you're in a position of power, and I know this when I was mayor, everybody wants something from you. Mark never asked for anything for himself. If anything, it'd say, gee, can you get this ball autograph for me, Mr. President, so I can give it to this kid? Or can I have your book autographed to give to somebody, to a waiter in a restaurant? Mark never extracted, he gave.
A tremendous skill set to have established his persona on a national platform. I mean, he, I'm sure, would have enjoyed the notion that Bill Clinton actually paused for him at the convention, talked about the news of his passing. And
he would have loved it, by the way.
Yeah, because he liked it. He liked being in the middle of it, right?
He died on Tuesday morning. On Sunday, the 2 days before, we took a beautiful drive along Ocean Drive in Newport, topped down in the car, and we just chatted. And I didn't think something was going to happen right away. I just didn't. I didn't want to believe.
Well, he was telling people that he wanted to be at the convention. He was planning on being there.
He got clearance on that Monday. But what he said to me, 2 things. He said, you know, if anything happens to me, the only 2 things I wish I could have done, because I've done everything in life that anybody could ever want to do. He said, I want to walk my daughter Zoe down the aisle, and he says, I want to dance with Hillary at the inaugural ball. He said, other than that, I've done everything a person can do. And he said, I hope some of the treatment that I've taken maybe can help other people. You know, 10 years from now, they'll probably have the cure for cancer. You know, he just didn't make it, and it ate away at him. But he was dodging a number of health bullets for over 10, 12 years. And when he had cancer the first time, back in 2008, he was at Anderson Hospital in Houston. And he wasn't going to let chemo take away his hair. He shaved it himself. And then there's a beautiful picture, he and James Carville looking like twins with bald heads. People loved Mark, and from all walks of life. Again, he gave, as recently as a day before he passed away, I was with his son Richard, who's like my nephew. And his son and my son are best friends. We all grew up together. It's nice generation after generation. And he said, make sure you have the passes for the Rhode Island delegation. Make sure you get those extra passes for this person or that person. And I don't hear all that well anymore the older I get. He wasn't speaking as loud as he normally would. And Mark, you gotta talk louder. Paolino, you're getting too old for me. And we'd go back and forth. But every conversation I had with Mark the last few years, you may think this is corny, but we always said, I love you, pal. Every conversation.
We'll take a break. We'll come back and we'll talk about the politics of the day, which are pretty volatile right now. Stay with us. So it has been, the convention's almost yesterday's news with the weekend and the way it's unfolded, and Hillary Clinton's Fox News interview, and Donald Trump competing in the distrust category with the whole Mr. Khan thing and back and forth, and it just has been crazy. Before we actually play any of the stuff that we have, give me a thought on what the entire convention was like last week and how you thought it went. What kind of on a 1 to 10 scale, what would you give it?
I'm not giving spin on this. I think it was a 10. I didn't see anything that was wrong in it. In the very beginning, they had the problems with the Debbie Wasserman Schultz. They took care of that pretty quick. They took care of that quickly, and every speech was great. and I think they got the message out. I'm curious to see what kind of bounce, if any, that she gets. She was behind.
Well, she got a 4-point bounce. She's third.
Well, that was the first poll
The
that came
CBS
out.
poll is at 46-39.
And so she went up 4, he went down 3, and now we got to see what happens in the next few days. I think this thing with Mr. Khan hurt him a lot. It had to. I mean, sacrifices you make in a business. I love my business. Even the bad days are good days. When you sacrifice, when your child gets
We'll
gets
talk
killed.
about
in war.
that in a second. Let's run the Fox News piece. This was a tough weekend for Hillary as well.
Forgive me, Secretary Clinton, but the Americans know what they think of you. 2/3 of them don't trust you.
Well, here's what I know, Chris. I have work to do to make sure people know what I have done and what I will do. That's part of what this convention was about. I feel very comfortable that the more people learn about what I've actually done, not the caricature, but the real deal, as my husband said in his remarks, they will understand why I was elected twice to the United States Senate, in the second time with a 67% vote, why my former opponent, President-elect Obama, trusted me to be Secretary of State. Every time I run for an office, though, oh my goodness, all of these caricatures come out of nowhere, and people begin to undermine me, because when I left office as Secretary of State, 66% of Americans approved.
I understand her arguments.
I agree with that.
I'm sure you do. You're a big fan.
No, but I totally agree with it. I mean, she's not a great politician. She's not good on a sum. She's not like her husband when it comes to hitting the ground running. But she is superior when she's in office. And when she left the Secretary of State, she was 67% approval rating back then. Her image has been roughed up for the past year. Now she's going to be contrasted to Donald Trump. And she just had a real good week, I think, of a lot of third-party people saying how credible and smart and good she is. So I think you have to let this thing play itself out to see if she's been able to get some of those negatives down and some of those positives up.
Well, you know, it's interesting. I think you and I talked about this the last time we were to get together on Hillary Clinton. I think I may have mentioned this. I've got a high school buddy, old pal, very high level in the military at the time that he's working. He's retired now. In front of a bunch of guys over beers when we get together once a year, had to withstand the anti-Hillary commentary that was coming from the guys, and he was saying, you know what, let me tell you something. I've been in some high-level military discussions with her, and she was the smartest person in the room.
That's right.
Which belies the idiocy of this email situation, and she's admitted mistake. But even this weekend, she doubled down on the idea that Comey actually didn't say that she didn't represent the truth. In fact, the Washington Post, here's a headline here, and then they gave her 4 Pinocchios. And I mean, can she not get out of her own way to say, listen, I made a mistake, and truth be told, you know, I might have dodged a bullet here. Instead, she wants to blame it on other professionals. She wants to suggest that it was only their acquiescence to her decision that allowed her continuation of that communication. She's almost in a right now. Donald Trump is tripping over himself every single day, and she's almost. This is like what you call in a golf match a pillow fight. One guy makes a bogey, the other one makes a double bogey. The other one makes a triple bogey, the other makes a bogey. It's a pillow fight on trust.
Well, let's see how the next couple of months go. As I said before, I don't think she has been a great politician, but she was never trained to be a politician. Think about it. Although people know her for the past 40 years, she's only run for Senate after 2000. She ran for the Senate, won, got reelected, and then ran for president. But prior to that, she was never a political candidate. She was a spouse of a political candidate. She was a law professor.
So she ran for the United States Senate. She ran for the United States Senate, and she's run for president already.
Oh, I said that
prior
in 2000.
To this, yeah.
But prior to 2000, no. And when you run for the U.S. Senate, it's what, once every 6
Well,
years?
tell me, are you telling me that political skill is in the blood, not acquired? I mean, she's had 16 years to actually to create some finesse here.
Does she have the same quickness and knack that her husband has on the stump? No. I mean, we all know that Bill Clinton's the best when it comes to this. And sometimes we expect the most, and sometimes you just can't get it. Look, for 1 year, some of it self-inflicted, some of it aggressively done by the media, a mixture of everything. She's been pummeled for the past year. Now let's compare her to Donald Trump and say to yourself, and she said it, do we want somebody who can be baited with a tweet? Or do you want somebody who's going to be pretty steady in that situation room? I think of all the people that have worked with her, they know she's got high caliber and high quality, and she's smart as a whip.
Well, we do have that commentary on Hillary about the tweet. Steve, you have that on the list. I think this is one of those zaps. I thought that on Thursday night.
I mean, Donald Trump saying that about Mr. Khan?
She got him good. Hold
Terrible.
on. Do we have that? We don't have that? Okay. Why don't we do this? We'll pause and we'll come back and we'll talk about Donald Trump and his situation and some things on a local level as well. Stay with us.
A man you can bait with a tweet is not a man we can trust with nuclear weapons.
That's the point that Joe is making, and of course we're talking about Trump and his weekend, which wasn't very good either.
Who wrote that? Did Hillary's scriptwriters write it?
A wounded Donald Trump turned on Kaiser Khan, lashing out for this criticism from the father of a soldier killed in Iraq protecting other troops.
You have sacrificed nothing and no one.
When pressed on his own history of sacrifice, Trump said this.
I've created thousands and thousands of jobs, tens of thousands of jobs, built great structures. I've had tremendous success. I think
those
I've done
are
a lot.
Sacrifices?
Oh, sure, I think they're sacrifices.
Trump even implied that Khan, a Muslim, may have silenced his wife for religious reasons.
She had nothing to say. Maybe she wasn't allowed to have anything to say.
Mrs. Khan defended herself in an op-ed in the Washington Post, writing, "Without saying a thing, all the world felt my pain." In an interview, Mr. Khan questioned Trump's character.
I want his family to counsel him, teach him some empathy. He will be a better person if he could become, but he is a black soul.
Khan urged House Speaker Paul Ryan and Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell to denounce Trump. Both released statements Sunday praising the Khan family and repeating their objection to Trump's previous proposed ban on Muslims entering the country. Trump also continues to face questions about his relationship with Russian President Vladimir Putin, something he once boasted about.
I spoke indirectly and directly with President Putin, who could not have been nicer.
Now Trump says he can't remember if he even met Putin.
I have no relationship with Putin. I don't think I've ever met him. I never met him. I don't think I've ever met him.
You would know it if you did,
I think so. Yeah, I think so.
You'll love a guy. Oh my goodness. We have one channel you have the Kardashians, another channel you got Trump. They make it up as they go. It's crazy. It's
I've
crazy.
never seen anything like it.
But hey, I hope he goes back to New York and builds more buildings because he has done a nice job in real estate.
Well, you know, on your side, you can't get cocky because right now, I thought, the DNC I think was pretty well oiled, pretty good machine. It's a long run to election day here.
You can't underestimate the anger of the public.
Right.
The public's angry.
And she's not able to harness it.
Not yet. No, I get that, and I think they all get it. But let's see. She's now being contrasted to Donald Trump. Not to Bernie Sanders, not to anybody else, to Donald Trump. And as time goes on, I do believe people are going to feel better with her. But right now, if there's a vote, is who do you dislike the most?
The first half of her speech the other night I thought was really impressive. And then she went into the longest laundry list of progressive left concepts. And I think she that middle America crowd that's trying to figure out where they are with her. I mean, she had to do a lot of negotiation with Bernie Sanders to make this whole thing work. You know what fries me? This whole notion that public tuition under $125,000 is going to be free. You know and I know that's never going to happen.
Well, wait a minute. She's talking about for public colleges.
Yeah, at URI. So all the folks who have been spending tuition money at RIC and URI are going to be going, what, really? And the devalue of those fine institutions and what they provide. I mean, you were talking. First of all, RIC's the best value for money in all of New England.
All our public universities.
URI is at the highest performance on so many levels and so many majors. all of a sudden we're going to suggest that that's going to be a free tuition for under $125,000 of earning.
She's
You
saying
know that's one of
125,
those.
maybe it gets settled at 50, maybe it gets settled for 75,000. But the intent to say that we want our children and our young people better educated and try to make it more affordable for them, it's a good debate to have. I don't know what the number is, if there even is a number.
I think it's a
But
political
it's a good debate
wish
to have.
list.
But I like the debate that she wants to rebuild the infrastructure. Look, in China, if you want a bullet train, and if you want to make it quick somewhere, and you want to go for 300 miles, maybe you can get there in an hour and a half. Here, it takes you forever. Why in the Northeast Corridor does it take us 4 hours from Boston to New York, when in Europe or in Asia, you can get on a bullet train and go a couple hundred miles an hour quickly to get there? That's the kind of infrastructure work we need. That's going to help commerce. Just think how Providence, Rhode Island would be right now if you could make it to New York in an hour and 15 minutes by train. It'd be incredible. Why can't we do that? She's talking about stuff like that. I think that stuff is good.
What's happening locally here? Some birdies are talking to me that you might get back in the game.
No.
You've heard the rumors yourself?
Because I've been critical of the mayor concerning the panhandling and concerning what Kennedy Plaza is all about and how bad that is, that I've been very vocal. I'm going to continue to be vocal, and I think my voice will get heard, maybe because of the business position I'm in today and my past political alliances. I think people will hear me. The mayor and I talked the other day at the convention, and we talked about me being critical of him. I told him I thought it was well-deserved, and that if he and I could work together, let's move forward. We shook hands, and we're going to try to see if we can straighten out the problems together concerning panhandling, concerning the homeless. I think every American should have the right to sleep in a bed, not a sidewalk. And I told him, looking outside your window every day, you have problems that are not being corrected.
He's got bigger issues, in all due respect to that concern that you rightly have. He's got a fire deal right now that could blow up at the Supreme Court and cost the city a $10, $20 million bill.
Then keep on appealing it. Let the courts decide it. I don't think you should settle it.
It's not going to go, well, you know what, you don't think you should settle it?
Look,
he established a game plan that it was unwinnable at the beginning. He's wrapped himself into quite the
if he signs
the bind.
Look, it's a no-win for him, and it's no win for the city firefighters.
If the firefighters win, we all lose. It's going to cost everybody a bunch of dough.
It is going to cost, but you know something? That's one court, then you appeal it to the next court. That's his responsibility.
Well, the state Supreme Court is the end of the game. That's where it is right
now.
now.
You're talking U.S. Supreme Court?
No. I'm talking the state Supreme Court. It's a state case. It's not a federal case.
Well, we can't. I'm not a lawyer, but we can't appeal after the state Supreme Court.
No.
That's it.
No.
Then he's got a problem.
And you might be back in the game.
Yeah, no, my days are gone.
All right, listen. Good luck tomorrow. I know it's an important day for you, and I'm sorry for your loss. I appreciate in the middle of it all that you come over.
I hope people understand what a good guy Mark was, and he really loved the state. Never asked for anything. All he wanted to do was help people.
Got it.
Thanks.
You. Appreciate it. Final word when we get back. Stay with us. Who knows what tomorrow will bring in the next news cycle as Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton have a contest on who can be distrusted more. This is a race that we'll never forget, no matter which way it comes out. We'll talk about that more tomorrow with a URI political science professor who's on her game. In the meantime, we'll see you on the radio from 3 to 6 on WPRL. We thank you for watching and have a great night. Good night.